what I'm going to be talking about is when I wrote my book, 19th Century Baseball in Chicago. I'm an early baseball researcher, pre-National League, and I stumbled across a piece in the Chicago Tribune about the Chicago Blue Stockings. And at the time, I didn't think anything about it. It was really a tough read on the microfiche, and now I'm aging myself. But what I did, it took me a couple of days to do it, but I transcribed this article. I basically did it backwards, word by word, so I can make it out. It was real poor quality. And what it is basically the earliest mention of Negro League baseball in Chicago. The Blue Stockings, up until that time in 1870, they had thought the Chicago Unions of 1887 was the earliest Negro team in Chicago. So this predates that by 17 years. Chicago Unions morphed into the Chicago Columbia Giants, the Union Giants, and eventually the Leland Giants, and then became the Chicago American Giants in 1911. And 1920, the National Negro National League was formed with the American Giants. And I just want to add in there that a buddy of mine, Karan Walker, just started a collegiate wood bat league, the Chicago American Giants, and they're going to be playing here locally at 39th and Wabash. So if you get a chance, go out and see him. So here's the piece from it's an unknown author, from the August 24th, 1870 Chicago Tribune. Baseball from a colored point of view. Match game between American clubs of African descent. Chicago has enjoyed a wide variety of experience in baseball, having witnessed its representation in nearly every possible shape. But not until yesterday had an opportunity to be afforded of seeing how the American citizens of African descent does it. Indeed, there were those so prejudiced as to maintain that the baseball and the suffrage qualification were widely different, insomuch as, while one was a creature of legislative enactment, the other was an utter impossibility on anatomical grounds. In short, and I have to add this in here, there's a lot of words I couldn't read, so I'll just say blank. Blank tender shins and red hot grounders were incompatible. This fallacy, like many another with reference to the same subject, was thoroughly exploded at Ogden Park yesterday afternoon. Our colored brethren can play baseball and do well into the bargain. For some time past, there has existed in Chicago an organization known as the Blue Stockings, which is made up of exclusively of blank athletes who are employed as waiters in the various hotels and restaurants. Under serious difficulties, the necessary practice was obtained owing to an idiosyncrasy of the blank in monopolizing the lakefront as, quotes, white man's park, to the exclusion of colored ball tossers. At last, however, the Blue Stocking Nine had blanked the preliminaries, and on the 1st of the present month, they accepted the challenge of the Rockford Club of Rockford, which is also made up of amendments, to play a match game. Be it known that the latter are the proteges of the Forest City boys, who have made blank, blank, blank through the details, some sort to the crack amateur nine. In the first game, the Blue Stockings were beaten, and the game yesterday was the second of the series. There were about 400 spectators in attendance, being largely of African persuasion, with about an equal apportionment of the sexes, while a small element of the pure, unadulterated, quote unquote, so-called Caucasians were on hand for the sake of curiosity. With an astounding disregard of the disdain precedents afforded by the White Stockings, amateurs, etc., the rival nines were on hand soon after blank o'clock, and they actually paid so little regard to the baseball usages as to begin the game at the present time, preset time, advertised, vis-a-vis 2:15 o'clock. Such conduct could only be properly punished by expulsion from the state and national associations, to which, unfortunately, neither the Blue Stockings nor the Rockfords belong. They should be admitted at once in order that such reflections upon the practices of their letters might be rigorously dealt with. The Blue Stockings wore a very tasty uniform consisting of a cap of broad blue and white stripes, blue shirt with a neat monogram on the breast, white flannel pants, blue stockings, and regulation shoes. The rig of the Rockfords was made up of a blue cap and a white shirt and blue pants at full length. With the selection of Mr. E.C. Bischoff, late of the Potter Palmers, as umpire, everything was in readiness, and the Blue Stockings, having won the toss, took the field. In each of the first 2 innings, the Rockfords were whitewashed and 1-2-3 ordered by very fine fielding on the part of their opponents, who, when they came to the bat, had no difficulty in hitting for 5 tallies in the first and 3 in the second inning, thus gaining a strong lead, which was rapidly increased as they proceeded. The final results showing 48 for the Blue Stockings, 14 for the Rockfords. The game was usually interesting one throughout, besides being extremely creditable to the Chicago blank in the field, and the bat was fully equal to that of any amateur club in the city. As a catcher, George Brown has no superiors here and few equals, while as a captain, he displayed an energy and judgment and enforced the discipline blank, which a certain high-priced team we know of stands sadly in need. His foul tips, blank, and bounds would have excited Craver's envy, and his throwing to second was such that the plan of stealing from first was altogether abandoned by the other side. The other members of the 9 played uniformly well, as will be seen by the fact that 4 blanks were visited upon the Rockfords, who are good batters. The latter also displayed some fine individual points, but in general, they were outplayed in every respect, and they can go back to Rockford well supplied with reasons why they failed to deserve the $100 promised, which the Forder City Club promised them in the event of their beating the Blue Stockings. To sum up the game in general, it need only to be said that, saving the blank state of color, it was like other well-played games. One peculiarity, however, was noticeable, whether accidental or blank, we don't know. It consisted in an irresistible propensity of tumbling head over heels when in the act of running bases or going for fly catches. Somersaults, which would permanently double up and disable the White Stocking, were counted as nothing by many of the colored hose and resulted in an amusement by the spectators, nothing more.